I know what I did was wrong.
A suspected serial child killer dead. But what did he say to this detective before he died behind bars?
But he did specifically say that a jury would clearly convict him for it.
Some of Arthur Ream's last words.
He was a bad guy at the beginning. He was a bad guy at the end. He enjoyed messing with cops at the beginning. He enjoys messing with cops at the end. Just all-around bad person.
Did you feel at the end, in your last conversation, he might have been willing to share more?
There were probably several points throughout the 50-plus hours that I interviewed him where myself and my partner thought that he was at least considering bragging or otherwise disclosing information, but he never actually did.
In a situation like this, when someone is perhaps suspected of being a serial killer, do they share the information at the end, or do they typically
I think it all depends on the person. We met with a lot of people that have interviewed a lot of, I guess, serial killer type people throughout the investigation to get second opinions and see what their experience has been. I think that a guy like him is wired differently, and it's a very tough interview. He doesn't express emotion or feel fear or joy or any emotions like the rest of us, so that's challenging. He didn't view the victims as people, but as just pawns in his little game. He was already sentenced to life without parole, so there was nothing I could do talking to him that would benefit him or any sort of leverage that I could use that might motivate him to talk. And so we tried to maybe see if he would brag about it or just want to, get some notoriety. And quite frankly, I think he just enjoyed knowing something we didn't know. There were 4 cases that we could find some evidence or some material that kind of supports that he was involved. We never found anything definitive or direct. I'm hopeful that I'm wrong because that would still mean there's hope that we'll eventually find the bodies in these cases. I think in all likelihood he's taking those secrets to the grave, and it's just going to be a sad ending. But there just seems to be a coincidence between some places and times that he was, and other cases where young girls had been hitchhiking and then disappeared. He never admitted to doing it, but he did specifically say that a jury would clearly convict him for it. We have some business records suggesting that he was in the area at the time. Again, that's not definitive, but it just kind of puts him in the area at the time that a young girl was hitchhiking and went missing.
So that's the Canton case. What's the second case?
West Bloomfield has a girl named Kelly Brownlee missing out of their department. Same set of circumstances. She was last seen hitchhiking near 12 Oaks Mall, and we found some records that suggest that Art might have been near there at that time. Again, not definitive. They're business records. May not necessarily have been him doing that job, but just very suspicious.
And would he be the leading candidate? Should say in that, is he the leading suspect?
Well, that's not our case, but I think it's a very strong possibility that he is responsible for that one as well.
What about the third?
We were working with the Macomb County Sheriff's Office quite a bit. Lieutenant Stevens, Sergeant Lafreniere, and Detective Morgan were all actively involved, and we found some connections between potentially the Connie Royce case, who went missing from Mount Clemens in 1990. Again, that Art might have been in the area at that time and possibly responsible. And also a case in 1972 with a young lady named Donna Sarah. We found some proof or some evidence that kind of suggests he was also involved in that one. And that one, the body was found, but it's never been a solved homicide.
So when he dies, what runs through your head?
I think it's just the end. Unfortunately, we were hopeful that at some point he's been sick. He had been sick for a period of time. We're kind of hopeful that maybe with death coming for him that would get him to open up or talk about it. But I've probably met with him once or twice a year the last few years, and just nothing changed. And so this was just kind of an expected conclusion. Unfortunately, I didn't want to say anymore.
Can you bring me back to that last time you spoke to him? Do you remember anything he may have said, whether it was bragging or insinuating that he may have done anything? Was he still trying to control the narrative?
A lot of, I didn't do anything. You're wrong. However, I can see why you think it's me. I think a jury would convict me, but you're wrong. Just a lot of back and forth. Say something suspicious, talk about it, and then...
How would you describe him if you had to pick adjectives?
Extremely smart, extremely manipulative, very thorough, very organized. Talking to him, you wouldn't suspect that he's a bad person or that he's evil, but he's done evil things, and he's clearly just hide his emotions well.
You did 2 searches in the field. How do you feel walking away? Do you feel like that field still may hold some answers or not?
It's a massive area. When you're searching for a body, you have to get on the X, for lack of a better phrase. And so we checked everything that we reasonably could, but you always wonder if we'd gone 10 feet more this way or 10 feet more that way, that you would have found something, but I think we did everything we practically could.
Looking back, is there a wish I would have gone here, asked that, checked this?
No, this is one of the most thorough investigations I was ever part of. Like I said, Macomb County Sheriff's Office, the Canton Police Department, the Michigan State Police, and the local Macomb FBI office also lent numerous resources. We met, I don't know what more we could have done to investigate it.
What bugs you? What still
I mean, the
bothers
same thing from the beginning. I don't know if I've grown close, but I've gotten to know Kim King's older sister Connie throughout this, and I was very hopeful that eventually we'd be able to get her a gravesite for her sister. I'm still hopeful again that maybe I'm completely wrong and it was someone else, and that hope is still out there, but that was kind of the goal, was to get a gravesite for the family for Kim, and we weren't able to do that.
Do you think that's the closest out of all of that cases to be solved?
I don't know if I'd rank them. That was my priority. That's where I exhausted the most effort. That's kind of what led to the connection of the other cases, but I think they make the most sense, I guess, is when you look at all of them together.
Do you remember your last time you did speak with him? Was there anything specific or any sentence that stands out?
No, it just reached a frustrating point because there were multiple points where he said, "I can see why you think it's me. Sure seems like something I might have done, but I didn't do it." And that kind of sums up. But that was going on several years. So how much of that was him making minor admissions, or how much of that was him just messing with me because he enjoyed messing with cops and I kept coming back, I don't know.